For Morningstar, I'm Christian Charest, and welcome to our monthly roundup of fund performance in Canada. I'm here with analyst Achilles Taxilaris to talk about how the various fund categories performed in November. Now, Achilles, if we just looked at the month-end numbers, we'd think this was a pretty good month. Most of the equity, fixed income, and balance categories were in positive territory for the month. Several of them actually gained more than 2%, but there's a bit more going on. Let's start with the two of the top-performing fund indices, European equity and U.S. equity. They both had similar returns of 3.7 and 3.5% for the month of November, but the situation for those two asset classes is very different. Let's start with U.S. equities.
Yes, you're totally right. The situation is different, and it's stemming mainly from the economies themselves. So in the U.S., November started really strong given the positive reaction of the widespread Republican victories in the midterm elections. And then the momentum carried on throughout November as economic news came up, such as solid job reports and a very strong Q3 growth number for the U.S. economy. At the opposite spectrum in the Europe and the other developed economies around the globe, economies have been struggling and even contracting, and deflation fears are still there, and the central banks had to step up again and provide more support to economies by lowering rates. This helped, of course, the equity markets in these areas, in these regions, while it hurt their currencies.
Okay, and those interventions also gave a boost to the fixed income categories, and once again, long-term fixed income, one of the top-performing categories for the month. Now, switching over to a different topic, one of the biggest stories for the month of November was the drop in the price of oil. Now, that actually started in October, and it's been wreaking havoc on funds in the energy equity and natural resources equity categories, which were again the bottom performers in November, and also to a lesser extent the more broadly diversified Canadian equity category. What happened with oil again this month?
Well, as you mentioned, oil prices have been coming down in a couple of months, but this month there was a lot of expectation that OPEC will maintain the current production, and prices of oil retracted, and after the decision came that they will maintain actually the current levels, oil prices fell sharply. At the same time, U.S. oil production is at record highs, and as demand globally is softening due to weakening economies, causes oil prices to fall.
Now, the drop in oil prices was one of the factors, not the only one, but one of the factors in what was eventually the best performing fund index for the month, which was precious metals equity, gained 5.9% in November. Price of gold was, again, very volatile last month.
Exactly. The gold prices started rebounding at the beginning of the month and maintained a positive momentum for most of the month. But then during the last week, and given the concerns around the oil prices, and as oil prices fell sharply, it affected gold prices as well. The reasoning is that inflation fears were even more tamed given the lower oil prices, and gold tends to be inflation hedge for most people, and that caused gold prices to retract at the end of the month. However, it gained a lot of throughout the month to still finish in a positive territory.
Thank you, Achilles. And for more on Morningstar's survey of fund performance for the month of November, including a full table of the performance of all 41 of Morningstar Canada's fund indices, please click on the link right below the video player. And check back with us regularly for more news and updates.